welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Now today I want to talk about something that I don't feel gets enough attention, or any attention really, and that is some misconceptions that are done on purpose in the watch industry, some deceptional marketing tactics used by some brands to bring more value to their product when ultimately I think it's just one big lie. So these are some things you should look out for when purchasing certain watches. Now the first thing is a lot of more inexpensive watches, to avoid being called made in China, but they're not allowed to put made in Switzerland because they don't fit that qualification, they might use a moniker on the dial such as designed in Germany, particularly Ingersoll watches. Now the funny thing is they can't put made in Germany because there's a specification for that. You need to follow certain rules to be able to put that on there. But you don't need any rules for designed in Germany. So really it could be designed in China, and trust me, it is, and they're still legally allowed to put designed in Germany. Now these Ingersoll watches, which have Chinese movements and have designed in Germany on the dial, are not designed in Germany because they have Chinese counterparts that are designed in the exact same way. They're the exact same watch without the Ingersoll name. So once again, it's to give it that European prestige when really it's just another bottle of $2 Chuck. Another one that I see it happen all the time is on Kickstarter watches. Now, yes, guys, I'm biased. There's no secret there. Everybody knows I'm not a huge fan of Kickstarter watches. But I saw a watch brand yesterday, the name escapes me, or I'd definitely be calling it out, that was advertising genuine ETA 2892 movements in their watch. And they showed a picture of the display back, and it wasn't an ETA 2892, it was an ETA 2824, you know, a much less expensive model. And it's this deception. So I was thinking, so are you getting a 2892 or are you getting a 2824? Because your text says a 2892, but the picture shows a 2824. And to make a mistake like this, well, let's just say I'm pretty sure that the brand itself doesn't exactly know what it's doing. Not to mention that other crazy brand with the Italian name, I think it was Filippo Loretti, that copied the entire Zenith website and just took off the word Zenith from all the watch dials. I mean, it's some pretty blatant stuff. Kickstarter watches can be pretty terrible. And of course, let's also talk about microbrands. Now, one thing a microbrands tout, but not always, is their artisanal nature. Guys, the truth is, there's one or two factories that make each part, and it's the same factory making the same part for every microbrand, be it microbrand called Federico or a microbrand called Raphael. It's all made in the same factory, except it's stamped with a different name, and it shows up to the HQ when it's done, and there you go, there's your microbrand. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, you know, the quality's probably there, but when they tout this like artisanal nature to their watch brand, when actually they're all made in Guangzhou, you know, slap an ETA movement in there, you know, it's just another one of those deceptive practices which really bothers me. Now, another practice that is done in the higher end, not the highest end, but in higher end than microbrands, is when they don't tell you the movement. They're like, you get an ETA or Sellita equivalent. Well, that's not okay to me because they're not equivalent. I mean, technically, yes, a Sellita is the same design as an ETA, but it's not built the same. Sellitas, actually, if you ask most watchmakers, are quite inferior. The design is the same, but the jewels aren't set the same way, they aren't lubricated the same way, they aren't finished the same way. So when I'm buying, you know, my watch and it's telling me ETA or Sellita, well, which one is it? You know, is it an ETA or is it a Sellita? Because I know what I'd pay for an ETA, and I know what I'd pay for a Sellita, and why can't you tell me which one it is? And I'll tell you why, because they bought a bunch of both, and they don't document which movement goes into which watch, so they tell you, it's the same thing. At a Sellita, they do the same thing, when truthfully, it really isn't. Another thing I dislike is when watch companies kind of name their ETA calibers with their own moniker. Like Breitling calls a Valjoux 7750 a caliber 13, and Tag has caliber numbers as well. This annoys me, but ultimately isn't that bad, because when you ask them, they'll tell you, yes, it's a Valjoux 7750. So while it is a little deceptive, they don't straight out lie about it, unlike these microbrands with their artisanal heritage, or these Chinese watches designed in Germany. I know today's a little bit more of a rant video, but man, it just really ticks me off, especially last night. I was looking through some forums, and this guy's like, I picked up this beautiful new German watch. It's got a seagull movement in it. I mean, yes, don't get me wrong, I'm sure it's a beautiful watch. It looked nice, but you could tell part of the reason why the person bought it was because it was German. And, it just isn't. It's deceptive. So, guys, please do a little research when buying, and be very wary of microbrands and Kickstarter watches. Not to say they're all bad, but, ask questions, because a lot of times you really don't get what you pay for. And on that note, guys, thank you for sticking around for a little bit of a rant here on Federico Talks Watches. I promise to come back with a lot more positivity, but I had to get that off my chest. Oh, and by the way, guys, please don't forget to check out our Instagram account. That's @WatchYouWant, link in the description below. And of course, check out our Talking Hands videos. Those are in-depth reviews by Tim Masso at our other channel, Watch You Want Watch Reviews. Link also in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe and slap a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for sticking around for another episode of Federico Talks Watches, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.